Children's Therapy Team is the leading outpatient pediatric therapy provider in Northwest Arkansas, offering an array of services for families in our region. We've got Lynsey and Kasey here to share more. This segment is sponsored by Children's Therapy Team. Welcome.
Yes.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
So welcome. Hey, Kasey.
Kasey's got green on. We're all matching here.
I know.
I'm loving
It's St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, she reminded us. I totally forgot.
So Kasey was in charge of making sure everybody remembered.
In charge of the wardrobe.
Man, I wish she'd be in charge of my wardrobe every day.
Same.
Lynsey, one particular area you work in is augmentative and alternative communication, or AAC. Can you tell us more? Can you explain what that is?
Sure. So like you said, it stands for augmentative and alternative communication. So a way to support or replace when a person doesn't have verbal speech. So it's any form of communication where the individual is not using spoken language.
Okay, I see.
It can be all kinds of things. So no tech, things like body language, facial expressions, vocalizations, sign language or finger spelling, or it can be light technology, which would be like paper-based. They're communication displays where they have words or letters or pictures, and the person will point to select what they want to say.
I see.
All the way up to high-tech things like Kasey's iPad or dedicated devices and really fancy stuff like eye gaze technology.
Okay. So walk me through this iPad. It's got some icons on it. If you touch one of those, does it say a word? Is that how it works? Kasey, can you give us an example? Oh, I see. Look at all those icons.
Yeah, so she uses her joystick to move the cursor around.
Gotcha.
And then, like right now, she's opening up her keyboard.
Okay.
Looks like she's going to spell.
Oh, she's going to spell. Wow, this is impressive. Man, it's
yeah.
working on it. While she's doing that, Lynsey, maybe you could say, who is a candidate to receive AAC?
So that's a really good question. And what's really cool about AAC is there's no requirements for being eligible for it. Really, the only thing that we need is that there's an identified communication need that's unable to be met with verbal speech. And then from there, it's just determining, you know, like I said, there's a lot of options. What's going to be the best way to meet those communication needs?
Sure, absolutely.
You ready?
Oh, you ready?
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
Oh, look at that. Okay. That is so unique.
Yes,
I love
for sure.
this.
We're definitely glad to have you, Kasey.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think Kasey's a finger speller too. Is that right? Yeah. So I'm not a very. So she uses her hands. To make letters to spell to people. I'm not a very good finger speller, so
Kasey's the pro.
Yeah, so and I'm not very good at reading it. I don't know sign language very well, but she also uses that and some other forms of communication as well. We actually all do. So we all text. We all do email. I love a good emoji or a GIF. And that's an alternative way to communicate what you want to say when you're not able to use verbal speech.
Yeah, that's so unique. What advice do you have for current or potential AAC users? Do you have any advice for folks?
I think Kasey has some tips for us. For parents, I encourage them to get with a speech-language pathologist.
Sure.
So, we're specifically trained in working with them and helping decide what's going to be the best. But Kasey is going to be our expert on this.
What are your tips?
That's what professionals like Lynsey are for.
Thanks. Hold on, I think she's got more.
I would say that persistence or perseverance is a big thing. Keep on putting yourself and your thoughts out there. People need to hear your voice. And if there's something they can do to help with that, like giving you extra time to type, let them know. Or if you need something different in order to communicate better, there are options to explore. That's what professionals like Lynsey are for.
I love that. Because we're all communicators, and this just really teaches us there's so many ways to communicate. And to Kasey's point, just let somebody know if you've got a different communication style.
Yeah.
So I love that.
And to be open to that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and communication isn't about whether we're using our words to talk. It's really just about making connections with people.
Sure.
with your friends, your family, at work, things like that.
Yeah, and you can make connections in so many different ways. And like you
Right.
said, we all already do that, whether it's nonverbal or using emojis even, or even sound effects. You know, we all use
Exactly.
different ways to communicate
Right.
with each other,
Yes.
and this is just another one of those ways.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Lynsey, what would you say to parents out there, maybe as they're thinking about maybe alternative ways of communications? Maybe AAC is something that they're thinking about, but they're unsure of it. What would you say to parents out there?
So first, like I said, if they're not already working with a therapy team or speech language pathologist, trying to find someone who can support them through that.
Okay.
And then second, I'd say just get started. There's a lot of things available, and it can feel really overwhelming, and that's completely normal. But you can connect with users, experts like Miss Kasey
Kasey.
here that
Yeah,
can support you through that. And if there's not someone locally that you can find, there are lots of online communities and free resources available to help them navigate it.
Sure.
Yes.
And we're looking at information from the website. So if you've got some questions, make sure you reach out via the website. Kasey, we learned a lot of things about
Yes.
you today. You're a master communicator, and also you know how to pick out a good color scheme.
do.
So you are hired to come back to pick out Jason and
Yes,
my class. All right?
absolutely.
You're
Put her on
welcome to
the
come back and be our,
Yes.
and be our
Be
stylist,
our wardrobe
Kasey.
specialist, please. Thank you both so much for joining us, Lynsey and Kasey. We really appreciate your time.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you. And
for
thank you
sure.
to Children's Therapy Team for sponsoring this segment.